Hello, 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 hello. What's up, guys? Happy Friday. Yo, what's up? Man, what's going on? Oh, my intro thing doesn't work anymore. Oh no, just have to disable this. Wait. There you go. What's going on with like, I'm so confused. Did I miss a major world event? What happened? Hey, Doting, and what's up? Like, what is down? Like, systems are down or what? I just saw that that a lot of like airlines are grounding their flights because some system isn't working and truck drivers aren't. Like, what's going on? I'm so confused. Is there like some major I don't know. Nothing? Oh, maybe it's not as big of a deal after all. Yeah, I'm eating my lunch. I'm a bit late for my lunch, but it's okay. I'm eating yogurt with frozen berries that I warmed up. Gonna put some granola in it, some peanut butter. See how it tastes. Oh, Windows broke last night. Excuse me? I've never heard. Windows can just break like that? Wait, actually Windows? Like how? Like what exactly happened? How does Windows break? Oh, it was a buggy update. Ah, okay. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, wow. Interesting. Wow, that's messed up. Uh-huh. A security software that broke Windows. Windows is running fine if you don't have it. Ah, okay. Happy Friday, James. What's up? How are you? The correct question is, how does Windows not break? I was wondering, like today, like I went to the gym and I have this app, like a fitness app, where the coach that I have is putting like workouts in, and today the app didn't work. So I was like, huh, that's weird. It just didn't load. So at some point I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna uninstall the app and reinstall it. So I did that, and then it never sent me, like I tried to enter my password, it didn't work, so I forgot my password. So I'm like, you know, reset password link, click it, and I don't receive my email. And then, you know, I check spam folder, all email folder, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't work. I try resetting again, doesn't work. So I'm like, huh, strange. Well, anyway, I messaged the coach, but the app still didn't work until the very end. So I wonder if that app was like part of this thing that just broke. Which sucked because I didn't know what to do. So I just did the previous workout that I did again. Because I don't know. I don't know what to do if I don't have a list to follow. This is Greek yogurt with frozen berries that I warmed up, and now I'm gonna put some granola in it. And then I'm gonna put some peanut butter on top, and then I'm gonna eat it. And it's gonna be delicious. I hope. So I hope you didn't miss me too much yesterday. I did the cycling thing. It was a bit exhausting to cycle up that mountain, but it wasn't that bad. I feel like the other mountain that I cycled up was a lot worse. And the one in Spain was a lot easier. I know, the one in Spain wasn't that bad at all. I don't know why. Either I was just fitter or it wasn't as steep. Maybe that's the problem. Looks good. Yeah, it is good. I almost always eat this for lunch. It's very delicious. Are you ever gonna do IRL cycling streams? I mean, I was thinking about doing IRL cycling streams once in a while, But I don't think I'm gonna be streaming how I cycle up mountains though. Cause like the thing is I won't be able to talk. And then is the stream really that interesting then? I don't know. Maybe if I don't have to cycle up a mountain for like a really long time. If it's only like half an hour that I'm cycling up or something, then maybe it's okay. But if I'm cycling up a mountain for like 1.5, 2 hours and I'm not able to talk at any point, then that's a bit... Depends as well, I guess. I mean, if the mountain isn't like super steep, then I'm probably still able to talk. Maybe I just need to be fitter so I can talk while cycling up a steep mountain as well. I just need to cycle more. But yeah, I can stream stuff like this if you guys actually want to see it. The problem is some areas where you cycle up don't have internet like this. The mountain that I drove up yesterday does not have consistent internet connection on the way, so I wouldn't be getting much signal on parts of it. I would have to find mountains where you have proper signal. The interesting thing was when I was up in the town, because we cycled up the mountain to this town, mountain town, and then we hiked to like a thing. We just hiked for an hour somewhere. And during that hike, I specifically checked my phone's internet connection to see how good it is. And from the town all the way up to the hiking spot, there was 4G all of the time. So I could have streamed that. I could have streamed the hike itself. I could have just not streamed the cycling properly, at least, I guess. But yeah, I would love to do some cycling streams. I'm still working on my proper setup though, on my IRL stream setup. So David and I yesterday were thinking about this IRL stream setup like the whole day. My brain barely was functioning anymore at that point because I cycled up a fucking mountain, then I hiked up some thing, and then I cycled down and I was just exhausted and it was hot as fuck. And then we were thinking about this whole IRL setup the whole time. It's just yogurt. Don't worry about it. Well, anyway, so we were thinking of this IRL setup because all of these IRL setups that you can find online are super expensive. And David knows a bit more about this stuff, so he was like looking into it to see if he can get it cheaper somehow. And I mean, we already kind of set it up cheaper. Like, for now, I didn't have to buy anything. The last IRL stream that I did with the scene switching didn't pay anything, which is great, right? Like, I managed to use OBS as a server for my IRL stream without having any extra costs. I didn't have to do any expensive like encoder thing or the Wi-Fi thing. I didn't have to buy more SIM cards. I didn't have to buy the Bella Box server. I didn't have to buy unlimited, blah, blah, blah. Like, I didn't have to do anything, which was good. But the problem is that the setup that I have at the moment only works with phones recording or phone streaming. And if I want to do anything where I walk or hike or cycle, then I probably need... I looked into it as well because I was thinking maybe a gimbal is good enough for stabilization. But I think a camera is better, like a camera that stabilizes. And the reason for it is because I think gimbals are a bit too finicky. Like, they work, but they're not as versatile in how you can use them. Like, you have to hold the gimbal in your hand, and it's like kind of sensitive, I guess. Like, you can't just, you know, you could pretty easily break it, I guess. So when you're cycling, are you gonna hold a gimbal in your hand or attach the gimbal somewhere? I don't know. And it doesn't go out very far either. Like, the gimbal, it doesn't, like, you know, go really far away. So I was thinking, okay, I guess if the gimbal thing doesn't work, then I have to get a camera that stabilizes well, which usually action cameras do, like GoPros and stuff. I do have a GoPro. I just have a really old version. I have a Hero 6. or a 6. I don't know if it's called Hero. But anyway, that's a 6 that I have. It technically works, but it doesn't work with the setup that I have. So well, actually, that's wrong. It does work with the setup that I have, but it's a bit more complicated. And we tried to figure this out yesterday. So basically, I have to use my mini PC, the NUC that I have, and then I have to connect the GoPro to it. And then one of my phones needs to create a hotspot with my SIM card for the mini PC for it to be able to connect to Wi-Fi. And I hope it even has a Wi-Fi connection. I don't even know that. Because sometimes these like mini PCs don't have Wi-Fi. Maybe they only have like a hardwired like Ethernet connection, right? If it doesn't have Wi-Fi, then I need to buy a router. A router that I can put the SIM card in, or a router that at least gets Wi-Fi from my phone, and then I connect it to the NUC, to the mini PC. So yeah, that is kind of how it works, right? Yeah, and then the mini PC is streaming, or is having OBS open, and then the OBS from my mini PC is sending the footage to my main PC over here, and then that should work. So yeah, that's the solution we have right now, which would be really cool if that works, because then I don't have to buy anything. I did put some stuff on my throne. I don't need this like right now, because I want to try the thing with the mini PC first. But wait, let me just explain this to you. So I put this on my throne. This router here, it's a mobile router that I maybe need if the NUC or if the mini PC does not manage to connect through Wi-Fi of a hotspot. And I would also need this if I get this encoder. So this is called like a LinkPi, and it's basically supposed to encode like the video that I get from like a camera, in my case the GoPro, and then sends it to OBS here. But this one does not have Wi-Fi, so this one needs a hardwired Ethernet connection, which you would get from this router. So I could get these two things, which are the cheapest versions of on still working properly. But yeah, I don't need this right now because I'm gonna try the mini PC. This would be a nice thing for, you know, later on if I do some proper setup that isn't like a Band-Aid setup. I also put this camera on here because my GoPro is a bit older, and this one would just be a newer version. And the stabilization, this one's probably gonna be better, you know, like. But yeah, so for now, I'm gonna try the setup that I have, and I might try it next week. Either going for a hike or for cycling or something like that. I don't know when, because I ordered some stuff that I still need. Like I had to order like a split cable. Well, actually that one I don't need, but I had to order a basically the mini PC doesn't have a battery. So I need to charge it with a portable battery. And the portable battery that I have, that someone ordered for me from Throne, actually, that one only has USB ports. But the mini PC does not have a USB port. It has like a power, like the barrel, the smallish barrel. So now I need to buy a converter from a barrel to like a USB-C with like 12 volt or something. So I ordered that, and it's gonna arrive on Tuesday. So once I have that, then I can connect the mini PC to the power bank. I can connect the camera, the GoPro to the mini PC, and then hopefully the hotspot works. I'm actually gonna ask it. I'm not sure if we thought about this. Did we think about it having Wi-Fi? Because if it doesn't have Wi-Fi, then it doesn't work. Then I need a router. Can't you just stream to a hosted cloud server? Yeah, but that's like I'm trying to go for a cheaper version. Which, to be fair, like it's a lot more complicated this way to set it up, because obviously if you go with a cloud server, if you go with any of these pre-set up plans, then it's gonna be a lot easier, but also like a lot more expensive. If it was just me, I would probably do that. But thankfully David knows a little bit more about this stuff, and he, like, you know, if you can do it in a cheaper way that works just the same or maybe even better, then might as well do it the cheaper way. Why not, right? Also, like, the thing with these cloud servers or with these like pre-setups is that it works, like, you have to spend a lot of money initially, and then maybe it turns out, oh, actually I would prefer if it worked like this different way, or I could do this, and then maybe it doesn't end up working, and then you spend all this money for nothing, right? So especially because I'm just starting out IRL streaming, I'm not fully committed to it, you know, I don't know. Maybe I like it, maybe I don't, maybe I hate IRL streaming, who knows? So I don't want to spend like an insane amount of money on any kind of like insane SIM card setups and bonding services, and I don't fucking know. So going for like cheap, or that cheap version and cheaper stuff that still works, even if a bit more complicated, is better, I guess, right? Because otherwise I just throw money out of the window for no reason. And then if I actually really like IRL streaming and I see that there's some sort of improvements I can make with certain aspects of it, then I can invest the money later on if I really am into it. The only bit I have is if you're using the NUC and the phones, you might need multiple batteries to make sure nothing runs out and shuts off. I mean, it depends, right? Like, obviously I have a power bank. The problem is I have to charge the mini PC, of course, and I have to charge the phone that is providing the Wi-Fi hotspot, and I have to charge the GoPro, and then that should be it. Those three things, and that's a power bank. The power bank that I have can do that. I don't think I need multiple batteries. I was thinking about getting a smaller battery for the camera itself, because then I could attach the small camera, add a small battery to the camera at the end of the selfie stick, you know? So I don't need a cable, because otherwise I need to attach the GoPro to my backpack with a cable to the power bank, but I have to connect it anyway through the HDMI cable, right? So at that point, I'm gonna have one cable anyway. I might as well have two cables, you know, just what it is. Hey, Lunatic, no, I didn't move. I'm in an office. I rented an office for streaming. How are you doing, Lunatic? Happy Friday. But yeah, would be really cool if I can figure it out for next week so we can do a proper IRL stream without it being super shaky. Maybe we can... I don't know how good the stabilization is on the GoPro. I tested it a little bit, and it looked fine. It definitely looks better than like a phone, right? It's certainly made better than a phone, but yeah, obviously it's like an older version, so we'll see. Maybe it's fine. Especially for hiking, like, I think it's gonna be okay. It's not that I'm like... It's not that I'm going, I don't know, surfing or something. I think for hiking and biking, you don't need like that much stabilization. Yeah, of course stabilization is nice, but I don't think it has to be insane, right? I hope. Hey, Megs, what's up? Thank you so much for 18 months. How you doing? Hello, hello, hello. A girl that I've been seeing for some time is coming over this weekend. Nice, Lunatic. That's awesome. I hope you have a good time. That's really cool. Just admiring your beautiful office space. Can you fix my apartment too? Of course, Megs. Just for 100 euros per hour, I will do that for you. You haven't seen purple food like that. It's yogurt. I swear the amount of people that are confused by this yogurt is something. It is just yogurt, guys. It is yogurt with granola. That's all. It's magic food. Looks like ice cream. Yeah, it could be ice cream. So you're renting an office just for streaming, or are you using the office for a normal job as well? Wow. A normal job, you say? Yeah, I do actually rent the space for my hobby, which is streaming. And outside of my hobby, I also work here with on my real job. I do indeed also use the space for my real job, which is napping. I like to nap here. No, streaming is my main job. Streaming is my normal job. So, guys, I was so productive today. You don't even understand. Man, you don't understand. I did all of the things. I did so many things. The only thing I didn't do is fold my laundry. But I had washed my laundry. Oh, it's raining. Oh. Anyway. I had washed my laundry, even though I had laundry already drying. So I had to leave because, you know, I had to stream at some point. So I just threw all of the laundry from the laundry racks off on the table, put the new laundry on, and left. I did everything else though, okay? Just need to fold some laundry later today, okay? Or tomorrow, who knows? We'll see. I don't know when I'm working today because we still didn't get our casting schedule. So I don't know when I'm gonna be home. It's okay, why would you need a casting schedule? Right? Right, Makes? We don't need that. I have 2 to 3 clean laundry baskets in my apartment at any given time. Yeah, wait, when I streamed... Oh yeah, I did use Wi-Fi for my mini PC, didn't I? I did, right? I did. I didn't Ethernet, right? Or did it? No, I didn't. I remember how I said I should have brought the long Ethernet cable. Yeah, true. Good point. How did I forget that? Once you have all that tech stuff figured out, can you help me? It's so funny because I don't understand it still. But I told David that he should just sell his knowledge about that he's acquiring currently for IRL streaming to other streamers. Like, I literally said people are going to be paying him money to set this stuff up for them. Like, they just will, right? Because if I could, like, if I could, like, somehow book a private, like, I don't know, call with a person that knows a lot about IRL streaming and how to set it up, I would book that call, like, instantly, right? So I feel like if he would do that, like if other people would want to set up IRL streaming, because he knows like everything now, basically. So, because he did so much research to set this up for me, and he knows all the stuff now. And I'm thinking, I literally told him, like, you should be selling this. Like, you should sell this to other streamers. They're going to be very happy about it. I was thinking about this for a sound tech too. Yes! 100%. 100%. If I could pay somebody to set up my sound and my, like my mixer and everything, oh my God, I would have paid them, like, probably $1,000. Like, I'm not joking. The amount of money I wasted on microphones and audio setup, it's insane. Because there's so much information out there, and half of it is useless. And I don't even know, man. Like, the amount of microphones I have, it's so dumb. If I could have just paid a person to set this up for me, I would have done that. Jin. The problem with audio setup is that I feel like it's very difficult to set it up remotely, I guess. The cool thing about the IRL streaming thingy is that I guess you can, like, as long as you understand what the streamer wants to do exactly, then you can probably, because a lot of the things you have to do is like I think a router that needs to be pre-set up somehow. Like, you need to have a router that is like has port forwarding unlocked somehow, and you might need a VPN depending on how you want to stream and blah blah blah. Don't ask me, I don't fucking know how it works. But anyway, he could basically order routers to his place, like configure them for a person, and then send it to them, and then it works, you know. Well, they probably have to set up some other stuff, but he could do that remotely pretty easily. There you go, I have a new job for David. He's gonna be rich. And then I can afford a proper IRL setup. Oh wait, I'm gonna watch a video for the TGP. It's TGP day, guys. Are you guys excited? I'm actually super excited to watch TGP. It's gonna be so nice.
It's time for the...
Yeah, no one gets eliminated. It's still Sunday. It's gonna be very interesting on how the teams play today. It's possible, like, technically speaking, it's possible that teams don't do a dungeon at all today. This is really gonna change the way teams play. It would be weird if they don't play a dungeon at all, but maybe. Like, maybe they play one dungeon, play it all the way up as much as they can, and even play super high keys. And maybe they don't do another dungeon at all to just, like, save strategies, and they don't share strategies with other teams and stuff. I think it's gonna be super cool. So,
very last team preview of Dragonflight.
Muting for a second, so can eat.
TGP Global Finals. We've seen veterans fall, titans turn human, new world records forged, new teams eliminating old pros, and even UI trends cropping up before our very eyes. Heading into the final stage of the tournament, we'll also see yet another change in the rules, specifically for the finals, and this one will most likely spice things up for viewers. No more eliminations on day 1 or day 2 of the Global Finals. This means that all 6 teams can YOLO and experiment for the majority of the weekend, as they are all safe until the final day. This change may open up a new level of competition, as teams don't have to be too strict about which key to push and when and how high. We might even see some of the bigger keys as early as Friday. This new rule also means that we should prepare for an action-packed Sunday, as the final day will be filled with the toughest competition we have ever seen. We're in for a delightful, vicious, and very entertaining weekend. So, let's check out the teams. Bigger, better, mandatory. Skylarked, Mode, Maystine, Stove, and Hopeful played out of their minds throughout Group A weekend and left us with zero doubts that they are in it for the win. With a Hail Mary in the Proving Grounds, the squad secured rank 1 going into the group stage. From day 1 of their group weekend, the EU troop proved that their Season 3 victory over Echo was not a lucky one-off, but they are instead a true threat to anyone trying to end up as the final victor of Dragonflight. With blazing fast runs and a world record plus 22 Algathar Academy, Mandatory made themselves a fan favorite heading into Global Finals, and retained their tip-top spot as the #1 ranked team from Group A. This squad was unstoppable. In fact, Mandatory were the only team who managed to conquer one of the hardest dungeon bosses on a Tyrannical plus 21, Kajin the Unyielding in Halls of Infusion. Tyrannical Halls of Infusion plus 21 had not yet been timed on live servers, but Mandatory not only timed this key with almost a minute and a half to spare, they did it with such grace and ease that it was even a 0-death run. Made even more impressive by the lack of tertiary stats on the turn rate realm, so they only had Avoidance and Leech available through enchants, which comes out to around 3%. With a flawless weekend like this, Mandatory should not be ignored, and if they keep performing at this level, they might just take another victory from Echo, and at least for the moment, this team looks to be the favorite to win Season 4's TGP. Next up is the European team Madge. With a great showing during the Proving Grounds putting them at the 5th seed, Lemike, Roybin, Soda, Dr. J, and Shelle took that energy and put it into the Group A weekend with an amazing second place result. The squad had a rather unimpressive start to their group weekend and was in danger of being eliminated before day 3, but they dug deep and put forth a great performance on the last day, where they timed the only other plus 22 Academy on the Group A weekend, only 27 seconds slower than Mandatory. This major key gave them the tie-breaking advantage over Pedros per hour and placed Madge second going into the Global Finals. They also managed to put a perfect run out of Ruby Life Pools plus 20 on the board, finishing the dungeon in 25 minutes.
Hey Carton, thank you so much for 87 months and happy Friday.
And 39 seconds and securing the fastest Ruby Life Pools of the weekend. Overall, Madge had a pretty incredible day 3 performance, but were slower than the 3rd seed, Pedros per hour, in a few dungeons, which might become an issue for them in the finals weekend, where they face 3 other incredible teams in addition to their biggest Group A competition. The name of the game this weekend for Madge will be to clean up their runs and save a few seconds anywhere that's possible to avoid falling into a time trap. With their group stage shortcomings in mind, Madge will most likely play for the bottom 3 placements over the top 3. We get to keep spamming our Pedros in chat because Pedros per hour is one of the 2 NA teams making it to Global Finals. Yoda, Drogo, I'm Fired Up, Sanghelios, and Crims entered this tournament with an impressive Proving Ground performance, putting them at the 4th seed, demonstrating that they mean business and want to make it to Global Finals. The Raccoons were vibing during their group weekend and put some great runs on the board. However, they were beaten not only by Madge's tiebreak advantage on day 3, but also by themselves after facing some issues not only in Naku defensive, but also in Algathar Academy. The Academy key was especially troublesome as the Pedros struggled to progress past the first pull of the dungeon for over 30 minutes. Even seconds wasted can be very costly in the TGP, especially on the final day. However, if the squad can clean up some of their pulls and perfect their struggle dungeons, Pedros per hour have a good chance to battle for a 4th place finish, which would be a phenomenal result for them as a newly built team. Up next is Missed Count, who only ranked 2nd in the Proving Grounds because of Mandatory's last-minute Hail Mary, and they gave us a very impressive performance during Group B's weekend. The biggest advantage for this Polish team was that they managed to 2-chest all of their plus 19 keys, and ended up converting all of them into plus 21s very quickly. In addition, they timed their plus 21 Ruby Life Pools in their first attempt, while competitors like Echo couldn't quite manage the same level of dungeon mastery. Missed Count left Echo behind for most of the 3-day competition and marked their territory with blazing fast runs. Their runs were so fast and clean that at the end of the Sunday, Kira, AJ, Yargi, Hearthjax, and Thaner had played out a 2-minute and 36-second advantage over Echo, massively improving their time in a plus 21 Brackenhide. This time gain was a huge advantage for the team, and they finished out their weekend as the winners of Group B. Going into Globals, Missed Count sit as the 2nd squad reaching for the crown, right next to Mandatory. As for our outcome prediction, Mandatory is the main competition for Missed Count, but you can't count Echo out yet either. You definitely are not going to want to miss this 3-way battle for 1st place. These titans of competitive WoW definitely looked a lot more human during their group stage. Now, Zalia, Clix, Gingy, and Mirez had a shocking number of mistakes and issues, which revealed that they are indeed vulnerable and, more importantly, beatable. The European squad sat behind Missed Count for most of the weekend and ended up behind them on time in all of their dungeons except for Nakud. They ended their group weekend in a respectable but surprising 2nd place. Echo's biggest issue last weekend was that, uncharacteristically, they did not 2-chest all of their plus 19s, while their biggest competitor, Missed Count, did. The cookie crumbled even more when Echo needed 12 attempts to time a plus 21 Ruby Life Pools, wiping mostly on their first pull or boss, whereas Missed Count did the same key on their first attempt. With such a tragic turn of events, Echo were left with no time remaining to improve any of their other dungeons, and they lost around 1 hour solely to the so-called Ruby Wipe Pools. However, the squad was able to improve Dratnos Guild Team's world record in Knockhood plus 22 with little to no issues at all. Going into the finals, Echo has some cleaning up to do if they want to win another TGP. If they show up and give us a similar performance to their group stage gameplay, they will end up at 3rd place at best. Mandatory and Miscount both had exceptional group weekends and certainly look poised to win it all. The Rats made it to the finals stage. Frosty, Timbermaw, Cryptix, 4G, and Terrasant, who ranked 7th in the Proving Grounds, gave us a great performance during their Group B weekend and became the second NA team to journey to Global Finals. Throughout the weekend, Dratnos' proteges mostly battled it out against Hope, but their consistency, smart strategy, and a world record in Knockhood plus 22 with only 2...
I don't know how I feel about the previous saying things like it's a 3-way fight for first and the other 3 are doomed. Well, yeah, I mean, he's right. I don't know. I think you don't have to be... At least that's my opinion. I personally think you don't have to, like, spare anyone's feelings. Like, you can just be realistic, right? Like, I mean, and he multiple times he says going off of their performance, right? Because we obviously saw them play in Group A and Group B, and going off of that performance, you can clearly say Miscount, Echo, and Mandatory are going to be probably the ones that have the highest chance of getting first. Can another team get within top 3? Obviously, right? I don't think it's impossible that a team like Dratnos Guild Team, or any team for that matter, could get like 3rd. I think that's for sure a thing that can happen. But is Dratnos Guild Team gonna beat Miscount, Mandatory, and Echo? Incredibly unlikely.
2 seconds to spare, helped them close.
I'm not saying he's not right. It kind of sucks if you're a fan and you're watching this and the official tournament previews, but it's not the official tournament preview. It's like, it's a thing uploaded by Radar.io. I mean, if they would say it on the Warcraft channel, yeah, of course they wouldn't be saying that there. But this is just a Radar.io preview, yeah.
Was the case and ultimately finished 3rd, securing a ticket to the final battle of Dragonflight. Dratnos Guild Team looked great overall, but encountered quite a few issues in their Algathar Academy plus 21, costing them valuable time on day 2. Though they ultimately finished in finals range, they were nowhere near Echo or Miscount, and going into the finals, where they have to face Echo, Miscount, and Mandatory, we see the Rat Squad fighting for the bottom seeds, trying to secure the 4th place spot. But with a global finals that has no eliminations on day 1 or day 2, almost anything is possible, and we are very curious to see what Dratnos' guildies come up with to best the competition.
I mean, he also says that here, right?
And that's it. Very curious that has no eliminations on day 1, trying to secure the 4th place count and Mandatory. We see the Rat Squad fighting for the bottom seed.
We see the squad fighting for the 4th seed. I would say the same, yeah.
Trying to secure the 4th. Anything is possible.
Like, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that I think it's okay to give people a little bit of an insight of what do you think is going to happen according to the information you have.
Want to miss this bloody battle
unless you're, of course, the official Warcraft channel, then you don't want to say it.
Global Finals might be the most exciting and cutthroat competition we have ever seen. Make sure to join us this weekend for clips, analysis, highlights, and more. And until then, we'll see you at the Global Finals.
But anyway, so who do you think is going to win and who do you think is going to be second? Because I know that I predicted wrong, but I'm so upset. I predicted Miscount first and Mandatory second. But I just fucking know that the first time that I don't predict Echo is going to win. Like, I just know this is going to happen. Because I always predict Echo first, always. Even when they, like, didn't win the last time, like, I predicted them first for Group B as well, right? Because I'm thinking, yeah, okay, they didn't win last time, but could they possibly lose twice in a row? No, right? But now I was thinking, because I could only predict 2 for the official broadcast. I could only predict first and second spot. And Miscount is really good, and Mandatory is really good. And they performed better than Echo. They just did, right? Do I think that Echo is not going to get first or second? I don't know. I just think it would be unfair for me to predict Echo, just because I have a feeling, you know? Because just from like a performance standpoint, both Mandatory and Miscount played better than Echo, right? So I feel like I have to predict Mandatory and Echo. But, Mandatory and Miscount, sorry. But is Echo gonna show up on the final and get first? Probably. They're probably just gonna show up and be like, oh, I guess we're gonna win. Like, god damn it. Greg. All right, well, we'll see what happens though. We'll see. All right, so before we continue with our gaming talk, wait, let's play Wordles. Let's turn on the music. Okay, let's go with this word first. Oh wow, well that's unfortunate. Then Brett. Okay. Clerk. Oh, wait, I put the E in the same spot as it was before. I'm stupid. I didn't see that. Whoopsie. Are there no letters in this word or what? Jesus. Is pervy a word? God damn it. Oh wait, I could have put nerdy because that was the word yesterday actually. But it's not. Okay, man. Shit. Okay, so... Man, this is difficult. What affects the R? So at the start or at the end? Oh, what if there's a second E? Or it's, I mean, the I is just weird, right? Meh. Ren. Reset, but there's no T. Renew. Oh, fuck. But there's two E's. Oh, God. Am I going to fail a Wordle? Reach. Refer? Wait, do you chat them with two R's? I think that's 2 hours. I don't know, man. I don't know. I just refer. Don't you just have a tour? Am I doing it? Oh, I'm doing it. Oh, thank God. Jesus Christ, but that was close. Woof. That was difficult. 2 R's and 2 E's. Damn. That's actually... That was a hard words. Anyway. Next up, we're gonna play word Nerdle. Same thing, but with the equations. For the math people, which is not me. So 3 times 7 is 21, plus 4 is 25. So you have to enter a random equation that has to compute, and then it will tell you which numbers are in the equation and stuff. Alright, so there's a times in the equation, a 7, a 4, a 2, and a 5, and of course an equal sign, but they're not in the correct spot. If they would be in the correct spot, it would be green. So it's either a 1-digit number or a 3-digit number, because since the equal sign is not here, it would be here or here, right? There's a times, which, you know, it could mean it's a 3-digit number, because times usually, you know, turns out to be higher numbers, but it doesn't have to be. It could be something, 2-digit number divided by something times something, or 2-digit minus 1. Let's try that. Let's just go with 25. 25 is a bit high. Well, actually, no, it is a bit high. But there's so many numbers I have to enter. Let me think. I don't want to do 25. How many numbers do I not know? Literally just one number, right? So only one number, I don't know. And this better not be a fucking 3-digit number. Wait, can it even be 3 digits? 1 times 2-digit. Yeah, I guess it could be. Maybe try that. Let's just do some calculations. Maybe it's 25 times 47. Times, okay, wait. Oh, we're not gonna get a 4 out of this. We have to do 27 times, what's 5 times 7? 35. Okay, that's also bad. 4 times 7. We need to somehow get a 5. How do we get that? 4 times 2 times 7. Not that way. 28, 8, 14, 35. Oh, we can do times 35. What if we do this? That's 135. Okay, now we're missing a 4. Fuck. Shit! But it's too complicated. What if we just do... Man, this is a bit difficult. Because I know so many numbers. And I want to use them all. Okay, don't worry, I'm thinking. Why don't you just do this instead? Oh, we can do this. Or, wait. What's this? This is... 200... 228? I guess, right. 247.28. I guess so. Fuck! This doesn't work because the 2 is not in the spot. Shit. God damn it. Well. Oh, it's too difficult. I can't do it. What if we do 54? 7, 4, it's the same thing. What's 7 times 5? 350. 378. Eh. Mm. 7, 4 is 280. 520. 300. No, I can't do it. Okay, don't worry. Just give me another hour. I got this. Give me my coffee. I mean, if we do 2 here, then what happens? Oh, wait, that does work. Because 2, 7 is 14. So F5, F7, I have times, F2. F4. Oh, yeah. Oh, shit, we were so close. Okay, fuck. We were so close, guys. Wait. Oh, wait, it's not 1. Oh, I thought it's 1. Okay, wait. That is what now? Oh, and it's also a plus, obviously. 2 times 7, what is 154? 140. That's 7, right? 140. 14, 154. Okay. Whew, okay, that was. Okay, we did it, chat. Good job. Instructions unclear. I rerolled Hunter. Oh. Yeah, usually when there's a lot of numbers known, initially it actually becomes a little bit more complicated because you need to fill them all in, right? Technically, you can just try, like you don't have to be perfect with your guessing, right? So in the second time that you guess, you don't have to include all the previous numbers. You know it's going to be wrong then, but at least it's going to be easier to figure out and you get more information. So technically speaking, you can just do this an easier way. But I'm still, like, I'm just trying to two-shot it, you know? I don't want to have as many tries. And if you want to have the fewest tries possible, then you want to make sure that everything could be the answer. Seriously, Sebla? What the fuck? That's so funny. Wait, who said that and where, when? All right, so now we have to do, we have to create 4 groups of 4. These are parts of shoes. Sole, lace, heel, the tongue. There you go. Then Ducky? Is that like a dance? Oh, who's Ryan? Sorry. Cement. Risk. Are these like games or something? Risk is a game. I don't know. Spice? Yeah, board game, right? Like some of these are board games, I think. But not sure which ones. Clue is a board game. Risk? Trouble? Oh, and sorry. Oh yeah, nice. And then what else do you have? Oh, James. James Bond? James Ryan? I don't know. Who's James Hunt? And James who? James Ducky? Oh, James Ducky? No. That's not it. James Band? Soul, Bond, Band, Cement. Soul, Bond. Why that? I'm lost. Why Soul, Bond, Band, and Cement? What's the question? Well, we have to make groups of 4. There's no question. We just need to figure out what fits together. Oh, binding things. Oops. Bond, soul. No, that's wrong. How is soul a binding thing? Soul, or a band for that matter. I don't know, I'm confused. Right hand and Bond if it's James. Yeah, but then we don't know the last words. I don't, because I tried James Bond, James Hunt, James Ryan, and James Ducky, but it didn't work. Names for bonding agents. Oh, rubber! Rubber! Yes! Rubber ducky, rubber band. That must be it. Rubber cement? That's the thing? Rubber soul? Rubber cement, that's the thing? It is! Oh my god. Wait, Hans Smart, Bond, Ryan. James Smart? Fictional spies. Oh. Bond, Hand, Ryan, Smart. Huh. Fictional spies, I guess. Yeah. Of course. Of course it's fictional spies. Of course. Well, thankfully, I'm now an expert in countries of the world, guys. So we're gonna play global now, where we are looking for a country, an unknown country, anywhere in the world. You enter a country, I always enter Germany first. And then it will tell me how close the country is that they're looking for to Germany. So the closest border to Germany of the country we're looking for is 3,690 kilometers. Which is approximately, let me see. And this is like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. So it's approximately here, I guess. Like here-ish. So it could be... I mean, is this too far? Let's try... I think I'm gonna try Eritrea, which is here, right? It's here somewhere. Okay, Eritrea is further away than Germany. That means... Wait. Oh, that means it's... what does that mean? Interesting. It's not that much further away, though. Because you can see the color is kind of the same. So that means it's either like somewhere here. It can't really be here, I don't think. There's only Russia here, so I don't think it's here. Shit. So it's one of these countries, probably. One of these like tiny little countries that I don't know the name of. Well, shit. But Germany's somehow closer. Well, what is it? Nah, it can't be Afghanistan. Then Eritrea would be closer than Germany, right? Like, I don't think these countries work because they're too close to Eritrea. And up here is only Russia, you know? Because Germany's closer, you know what I mean? And Eritrea would certainly be closer to all of these countries here. So I think it has to be here somewhere. You know? I think I'm going with Burkina Faso. Oh, yeah. There we go. Yep. That's it, guys. Rigged. Oh, no, no, no. Hey, don't. Hey, I just knew that, okay? Hey. Pre-watched. She cheating? Hey, I'm not cheating, I swear. I swear. Oh, okay, I honestly did not expect it to be Burkina Faso. That was a bit lucky. There's like a lot of countries here that could have been the answer. And I don't know all of the other countries. Okay, well, that was nice. Okay, so now we're gonna play travel. The way travel works is that you get 2 countries. And you need to find not the fastest way, but you need to go from one country to the other by crossing the least amount of countries in total. Where the hell is Guyana? Wait. Fuck. Where's Guyana again? Shit, where's Guyana? Is Guyana in South America? Okay. Does it border Colombia is all I need to know. Do you think it borders Colombia? So the way this game works is, because it says, I'd like to go from Guyana to Greenland. So you can have a perfect score if you go from Guyana and then go up to Greenland, right? In a row, like every country perfectly in a row. The fastest way always. Not the fastest way, but like crossing the least amount of countries. But you can also get the path if you don't do it perfectly, you know? I'm gonna go with Colombia. Fuck. Okay, so, shit. Which country is between Colombia and Guyana? Venezuela. Fuck. Okay, whatever. Okay, so now we go from Colombia. So now we go to Panama. Then we go to Costa Rica. Then, wait, I remember this. Wait. I think I'm missing a country. It's not Nicaragua already, right? Oh, it is. Okay, well, then it's Honduras. Then it's Guatemala. Mexico. America. Canada. There. Fuck, we were so close. Shit, if only I needed Guyana doesn't border Colombia. I'm stupid. Oh, I could have done Brazil as well. Of course, I could have done Brazil, Colombia. Fuck. Venezuela. Yeah. So yeah, like the way the game works is that you just need to cross the least amount of countries, right? So, like, I could have guessed Brazil. I could have guessed Guyana, Brazil, Colombia. And it would have been the same as guessing Guyana, Venezuela, Colombia. Like, it's actually the same thing. Because as long as it equates the same amount of countries. Sometimes it's much better to go through, like, for example, if you're in Europe, okay, this map is a bit, does it turn? Okay, well, whatever. If you have to go from Europe to Asia, it's almost always better to go through Russia, because Russia is so big that you would have to cross a lot more countries if you go, like, down the bottom, right? So this game is a little bit interesting because it always, because you're not trying to get the fastest way, you're trying to get to cross the least amount of countries. The map looks like an Ogevok. Actually, good point. It does look a bit like an Ogevok. I think there's only one right answer, even though technically more have the same. No, I don't think so. I think there are multiple right answers. Because it's not about, well, there's a perfect answer if you go the perfect order. Oh, actually, wait, that's a good point. That's a very good point. I don't know if the perfect answer needs to follow that exact path. Yeah, I don't know that. Like if I would have entered Brazil, Colombia, and then all of the other countries, would I have gotten the perfect score or not? Is the question. I don't know, actually. I don't know about that. Yeah, because sometimes you have multiple perfect answers, right? I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Let's play Loldol. So, okay, so ranged, female, ranged. Let's just go with Ari. Oh, it's not a human. Not a human. Female range, not a human. That is from before 2016. What kind of female range do we have that are not humans early on? I mean, Arya counts as human, right? Or does she not? Lux, I mean, they're all human. I'm actually gonna go with Cassio. Does she also not count as a human? Yeah, she does. Ooh, okay. So it's a mid-champion that is... A mid-champion that is female, that is one of the earliest champions, and it's ranged. Huh. What is that? Female ranged. Not a human. Not a human. I can't think of any champion that isn't a... I can't think of any female race that isn't a human. Yeah. Okay, let me think. What early mid-champs do we have? We have Rice. Katarina. Rice is male. Katarina is melee. Ari is human. Lux is human. Victor is male. Tristana... But Tristana wouldn't be middle, right? Tristana is AD carry or middle, I guess. Cillian is a male. Annie... Wait, does Annie... No, Annie certainly counts as a human, right? Anivia! Oh my god, it's Anivia. Of course, Anivia. Oh my god. I would have never come up with Anivia. Thank you, guys. I always forgot this champion exists. Oh, thank god. I would have never known. Alright, Wowdle. So it's not female, not human, not vanilla. Deathwing. Male. Not a dragon. A cataclysm. Whew. Well, I'm lost. Alakir. Oh, Alakir is also a cat. Oops. Not an elemental. Oh, it's not. It's a class, actually. Oh, so it's probably like an undead or something. Thrall. Is probably like something, right? Oh, Thrall's also vanilla. Oops. Not an orc. Okay. Not a shaman, not a mage. What about Nathanos? Oh? Not fully undead. Who is not fully undead? Not a hunter, though. Not BFA either. So human? No. Bolvar? Bolvar is like half undead? No, Bolvar's human, okay. No, it's male, not female. Can't be Sylvanas. Who's Ogrim Doomhammer? Nothing. What the fuck is half undead? Yeah, I don't know either. Like, they're probably undead and something else. Like, undead and, I don't know. Like, maybe they were undead and are not undead anymore, or the other way around. Illidan is undead? Oh, but it's TBC. So it's a half it's like undead something, TBC male. Not a shaman, not a paladin, not a demon hunter, not a mage. Gorfiends? Is that from TBC? Morose? Oh, that's not an answer. Gorfiend's not an answer either. Kill Jaden. Wait, Kill Jaden is like half undead? A demon. Well, do you think demon counts undead? But I'll just try, whatever. Okay, no, it doesn't count. Also not a warlock, though. I mean, there's not that many classes left. What is, like, TBC male, somewhat undead? Maybe not undead? Not a mage, not a shaman, not a hunter, not a paladin, not a demon hunter, not a warlock. Can't be Morose. Atumen? Can't be Atumen. Velen? Valir? No, we don't have Velen either. We don't have Terra and Gorfin either. Guys, it's not there. I can't... If it's not a suggestion, then it's not in the game. Valen's not it either. Gul'dan? Wait, but Gul'dan is an orc, right? And orc is not an answer. And not a warlock, yeah. It's difficult. It's a warrior. I mean, it could be a priest. Could be a priest, could be a warrior, could be a rogue. Like, there's still a bunch of classes left. Yellow Me said it's partially true. Archimon. Lillian Voss. Lillian Voss. It's male, not female. I mean, bosses almost never work, Seble. Like, there's only ever, like, super important bosses in this game. Any boss that isn't the last boss is not in here. Well, sometimes there's dungeon boss in there, but I guess it's only like bosses that are super lore related, maybe? Yeah, Atuman is not in there either. Tarok, no. Medivh. Medivh is in there. But Suljin as well. Who's Suljin? Akama. Akama's not in there. Shades. Who's Nabundo? Not in the game though. It can't be a night elf because there's a night elf is just not the answer. Wait, Suljin? How does Suljin count as... Oh. Suljin counts as troll undead? Who the fuck is Suljin? He's that? Oh. Well, okay, well. I guess that makes sense. Oh, the final boss of Suleiman. Yeah. Oh my god, I forgot about that. True, of course. Of course. Well, well, well. It's called Wowdle. Thank you so much for the 3 years, Bramble. Thank you so much. Welcome back. How are you doing? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Naguura doesn't stand for anything, it's just a name. Okay, so now that we're done with Wordles and we talked a little bit about the TGP, what's next? I have to leave. Like the TGP rehearsal starts early today at 4:30 because we didn't have a proper rehearsal yesterday, so like tech checks and stuff we do at 4:30. So I have to leave in a little bit less than 2 hours. We can play a dungeon on beta, or we could talk about TGP if you want. Nagani, Nagani. I should play some Nagani. What happened to Dragony? Yeah, Dragony is taking a break, just like all my other WoW characters. They nerfed the spell that one should do 5 times in a row. The pool on the floor on that one boss. Yeah, same, same. In your name. Well, I'm kind of happy about WoW not being super, like retail not being super interesting right now. Like, I don't feel bad at all for not playing retail, which is cool. And then I can check out some other things. I can look into this IRL streaming thing. I can prepare for the War Within. I can spend some time there. I actually have to do a lot of... I have to prepare so much for the War Within still. I have to do videos and stuff. I still have to figure out which videos I'm even gonna do. which ones I'm gonna pre-prepare. Because what to do the first week, that's like when the season starts, right? Which is something I can only do once the game has come out. I guess a lot of videos I'm only gonna be able to do once the game comes out. Dungeon videos, I feel like are just never really worth it. It's too much effort for not enough views. Oh, that's an interesting bug. Probably farming rare boss first 2 weeks. Yeah, the one thing that I'm not sure about though is like what you can even do the first 2 weeks. Like, is there any reputation for him or anything? Did anyone already make a video? I mean, I doubt that, but you never know. Oh, I actually want to see what Dratno says about the tanks.
My name is
tank
Dratnos,
nerfs.
and in today's video, we have tank changes, big tank nerfs coming in War Within beta. We've also got patch notes, so we'll just do the big video, do all the patch notes as well. So if you're not interested in the tank stuff, you've already heard about it, you can use the chapters at the bottom to skip ahead. So here are the tank changes. With the introduction of the Dragonflight talent system and season-over-season changes, tanks in World of Warcraft have become extremely durable relative to non-tank characters. Now, right away, I would dispute this sentence. I believe that the durability of non-tank characters has gone up faster than the durability of tank characters.
I agree.
In particular, the amount of defensives that the average DPS and healer spec has. There are some outliers that don't have as many, but that has skyrocketed. Whereas tank durability compared to, say, Shadowlands Season 3, Shadowlands Season 4, BFA Season 4, BFA Season 3, you know, tanks were indestructible in those seasons, which is kind of the point that they've sort of reached. I mean, kind of Vengeance Demon Hunter in Seasons 3 and 4 of Dragonflight and Bear in Season 2 of Dragonflight reached that level of durability. In both cases, because they had interactions in M+, that scaled their defenses with the amount of targets they were fighting. Like, that was the primary offender in making those tank specs extremely durable in those cases. But I would very much describe this as a lie. Their active defenses can mitigate high percentages of incoming damage, and they have strong self-healing. Today, in the hardest content in the game, many tanks can sustain themselves without much assistance from healers. Again, this is mostly true, largely for the specs that can do it because they are scaling nicely with the amount of incoming either damage or targets that they are fighting. But again, I would dispute that this is a change from...
Not certainly so early, I didn't, but I watched a VOD of your IRL trial run, and I think you'll be a natural at doing it also. Really? Oh my god, that's so cool. Yeah, I'm really excited to do more of this IRL stuff. I'm really excited that it just works. I mean, you know, there's a lot of technique. It's very complicated, but I'm really glad you guys like it, because I would for sure love to do more IRL streams if I can make it work somehow. That'd be really, really cool.
From the status quo.
Especially in the summer. I think in the winter it's going to be a little bit more difficult because it's going to be less sunlight, like less daylight. The activities you can do outside are kind of limited to skiing and stuff, which is a bit harder to film. But in the summer, I think it's really cool to do outside content. If I can do more of that, that'd be great.
In previous seasons, except for seasons like Shadowlands Season 1, where it certainly wasn't true.
Yeah, the problem with skiing streams is like the internet. Like, it's the internet and the wind. Like, it's kind of difficult to make stuff like that work. Also, it's... I don't know. And then you come visit me and we go hiking. Yeah, we could do that, Riggs. That would be so much fun. Do you have it posted on your Insta page, the IRL bot? I do not. No, I don't. It's just on my Twitch bot. Skiing is more like YouTube content, yeah. I do think that hiking can work for IRL streams. As long as I don't hike up a mountain where I'm out of breath and I can't speak anymore. That one, then it's still fine. Yeah, I think hiking can work. Depends, you know. If I do, maybe not every day, but if I do it like once a week on like a special like IRL day, then that'd be fun. I can also switch it up. I can do hiking one time, cycling another time. One time I don't know. One time I go climbing. Who knows? Paragliding.
True. In some cases, we've seen it become optimal to do group content without a healer at all. Now, this is a true criticism that can be leveled at certain parts of the game. You know, there are some cases in M+ where you'd play without a healer, but it's like very sweaty groups that would do that. You'll see if you look at Radar.io, you'll see a lot of groups without a healer, but that's usually like, oh, we're going to do the first few pulls without a healer because we know we can do those pulls, and then we're going to swap out. And the thing that has changed from previous expansions there isn't that the tanks don't need the healer. It's that the DPS don't need the healer.
Hey,
and in
Cassie,
fact, the healer doesn't even help
Handle
the DPS, really. Like, if you're going to go do some M+ keys, and you're going to do like a 17 keystone, whether your DPS player lives or dies is not based on the healer. It's based on whether they press their defensives. And that is the reason that you then, if you have those DPS players that can press their defensives, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I guess we don't need a healer. I would say that the tank side of this is very much not the actual issue.
It's funny how Draptos and I almost always share the same opinion. Wonder what's going on there.
World of Warcraft is an MMO, and its multiplayer aspects are a major strength. Group content is extremely rewarding when players performing different roles come together to overcome a challenge. We want to reinforce the importance of the healer role and work towards gameplay where tanks and healers collaborate to reduce the damage the tank is taking and to restore the tank's lost health. So I agree with it's good when all the roles are important and different and needed. I personally disagree with the premise that the healer and the tank are like a two-person team that is working on keeping the tank alive, and then the DPS are a three-person team doing damage. I think that if it's, you know, the healer kind of keeping everybody alive, which mostly means focusing not on the tank, and then sometimes helping the tank in periods of heavy tank damage, particularly if the tank has a dot, I think is a really natural time for the healer to be involved and kind of be aware that they need to be involved in the tank. I think that's a good way to kind of indicate that's happening. And then otherwise, the tank is primarily responsible for their own survival. That is, for me, when the game is fun. And it does still involve all three roles being important, right? Like, healers are important in that spot. But the crucial thing there is that the healers need to be necessary for the DPS player's survival, which is something that is not true right now in the game. And Blizzard was like, yeah, we don't think we have time to change that before War Within. They said that like a month ago, but I guess they have time to change it for tanks. Tank durability can cause some other problems as well, especially in challenging endgame content that we want to work towards improving. Enemy damage is increased to challenge tanks, but if it's increased too much, it gets spiky and puts tank in significant danger if their defenses ever drop. This can lead to tanks getting killed rapidly, seeming out of nowhere. We feel this is unsatisfying and would prefer tank damage to generally be evenly distributed, but still threatening over time. So this is a good take here, which is that tanks should ideally be getting less one-shot and more dying in a predictable fashion. That is a good goal. Now, this strikes me as something that all of the notes that they are then going to put are going to make this less true rather than more true, but this is a good mission statement for sure. If tanks are not threatened enough, then the most challenging part of endgame content can become keeping DPS and healers alive, often against high burst damage. Making tank survival a more involving element of group gameplay could give us some freedom to ease up on the threat to other group members. I mean, I think it's absolutely mandatory if I've been doing keys on beta, and if you're doing a key on beta as the tank player, you already feel like you are dying over a longer period of time than on Dragonflight, and it also feels like you are more reliant on the healer than in Dragonflight. And crucially, you are aware that if your group is low and your group is taking rot damage, you are in tremendous danger because your healer is busy, right? And so, yeah, if they want to do any of this stuff, this is not only could give us some freedom, it's absolutely imperative that the group is not dying if the tank is dying, so that the tank can actually get healed. Again, I find this to be misguided. I think this should be the other way around. I think that the tanks should be like, if the tank is low and the rest of the group is low and there's rot damage coming out, the tank should be able to press some stuff to survive, and the healer should know that they should focus on the DPS players rather than the other way around.
I think he did. Well, is he still going to address it? And yeah,
against high burst damage, again, this is a relic or a side effect of the defensive power of all the DPS specs, which is something that I think is the real underlying problem for why healers feel unnecessary rather than tank stuff. Because I don't know very many healers that enjoy tank healing as opposed to like group healing, as opposed to healing. You still got to do spot healing, right, on people in the group that are being targeted by stuff. But that for me, at least when I'm healing, you know, if I'm doing a key and the tank is the only person taking damage, like you can go play classic if you want that kind of healing pattern, right? And I don't know. I think it's worse by a lot. To address the above,
I do think that he didn't go into this sentence too much, where they say it could give us some freedom to ease up on the threat to other group members. Now, I'm not saying, like, I think what Dragon is saying is true. Like, the healers would rather heal the group than the tanks. But this underlying issue that he keeps talking about the damage dealers' defensives being too strong, if they don't want to fix that, which I don't 100% understand why, like, I feel like it's, to me, it has been pretty clear that this is a major issue for months now. Like, for months on end, I've been talking about the issue of damage dealers being too tanky and having too many defensives, and how that makes dungeon design and plus design just bad, and that they need to fix it. Like, if they want in plus to be more fun again, they need to fix the defensives of damage dealers and nerf them, because damage dealers are just way too tanky and it makes everything unfun, right? So anyway, I feel like they should have fixed that a long time ago. But if they're not gonna fix that, then I think this could help a little bit for the group damage, at least. Because they're saying here, we're gonna ease up some damage on the group members. They basically say we're gonna nerf damage in a group because the tank takes more damage. Yeah, it sucks for the tanks and for the healers probably, because the healers are gonna have to heal a tank a bit more, which they don't like doing, and the tanks are not gonna be as independent anymore, which they don't like being. But if the damage dealers take less damage, I mean, could be slightly better. But then at the same time, why didn't they just fix the defenses of the damage dealers, right? Like, yeah. And we'll see how this plays out, because I still think we should see the changes play out before we are like too harsh on this like approach that Blizzard is doing. Again, like, obviously, I said this the last time as well. Obviously, it's better. It would have been better if they would have just nerfed the damage dealers' defensives. But I mean, maybe this is gonna help too. We'll see. We're gonna see how it plays out.
We're making reductions to tank durability and self-healing. This will allow us to smooth out damage tanks and parties take while retaining the challenge of keeping them alive over time. We'll take those changes into account in encounter tuning as well. Yeah, I mean, I guess best case scenario is that this sentence is true.
Yeah.
Realistic case scenario is this sentence is going to be true in some cases, but in many cases it's going to get worse. And in many cases, the way that the tank is going to solve this is by kiting. So if you are a tank player that enjoys kiting, I think this is going to really increase the amount of times that it's correct for you to kite. And there is certainly a degree of skill expression in kiting. It's something that, you know, a good player can do really well with.
So healer main, it can be frustrating when DPS don't use defensives, although that's what makes them more tanky. So if we make them squishier without using buttons, it's going to feel worse. Oh no, it won't. No, absolutely not. Hear me out. If the damage dealers are less tanky, if they have less defensives, then by default, the incoming damage has to be tuned lower. And then the responsibility to keep the damage dealers alive is going to shift more to the healers, which is a good thing. Healers think, sometimes healers have like a, whenever I say this, like, because I've suggested this multiple times, whenever I say this, healers are like, oh no, we don't want more responsibility. We already have so much responsibility. And that's true, right? But would you rather be, like, would you rather, like, if a damage dealer dies, would you rather have it that it could have been their fault, that they should have saved themselves, or that it was on you? Sorry, I can't speak right now. So basically, because the damage dealers have so many defensives, a healer with their own capabilities cannot keep the group alive. That's how the game works right now. Damage dealers are so tanky that Blizzard had to tune up the damage to compensate, because obviously the incoming damage that we take in any kind of high-end content is always tuned around the survivability that we have as a group, not how much a healer can heal, right? So, because if they would just tune the incoming damage around the healer's capabilities, completely ignoring the defensives that the damage dealer has, then the content wouldn't be hard, right? So Blizzard has to tune the damage that we take around how much a healer can heal, plus how many defensives we have as damage dealers, right? The problem is, though, because damage dealers have so many defensives, a healer by themselves cannot keep the group alive. The healer is reliant on the damage dealers to press their defensives in a pretty good order. Otherwise, they will die because of the way that damage is tuned according to the defensives, right? Which sucks for the healer, right? Because as a healer, especially in group content where there's only one healer, if you play as well as you can possibly play, if you press everything perfectly, and your damage dealers still die because they don't press their defenses properly, then that sucks. Then how does that make you feel as a healer? It's like, oh my god, I literally did everything I could, and my damage dealers still die. Why? Well, because, as I said, the incoming damage is tuned around our heals that we have available to us from the healers, plus all of these defensive things that we have that are way too many. So if you remove, or I don't want to say remove, but if you reduce the amount of defensives the healers have, the damage dealers have, then they would have to tune down the incoming damage that we take in accordance to our survivability that we have available to us. And then the healers would be responsible for the heals more than before. So maybe right now, the amount of responsibility that a healer has in accordance to group survivability is like, I don't know, 50%. And if they would reduce the defensives from the damage dealers, then maybe the healer would be responsible for the survivability of the group by like 80% or 90%, right? And yes, it sounds bad because you have more responsibility, but it's better because you can figure out when to press your buttons. And if you make a mistake, you know you made a mistake. If you press your heals wrong and somebody died, it was your fault, right? But at least you know. Right now, if someone dies, you don't know. Like, maybe they pressed their defenses wrong. Maybe they did something wrong. Or maybe I did something wrong. Who knows, you know? But then it feels bad when you do everything right as a DPS and just die because healers fucked up. Yeah, but that is how the game works. A damage dealer is not a self-sustaining role. Like, I understand what you're saying. I know that damage dealers like to be self-reliant and that they like to have more defenses, but that is just not how the game is supposed to work. Like, you are supposed to be reliant on the healer as a damage dealer. You're not a tank. You're not a healer. You're a damage dealer, right? You're supposed to do damage, and the healer is supposed to keep you alive. And if the healer fucks up and you die, then it should be the healer's fault, right? Unless, of course, you get hit by things that you're not supposed to get hit by, right? I'm obviously talking about unavoidable damage. I'm not talking about avoidable damage. Just remove healers from the game. Actually, agreed. Yeah, it's dumb, Sarah. I agree. And some people think that removing defensives of the damage dealers would make them like completely like dying to everything, but that's not how it works. Like, if you guys remember before because this issue really only started happening during Dragonflight with the new talent system, because they gave us so many defensives in our class trees, right? But before we had these new talents, we had defensives. You know, it's not that we didn't have any defensives. Classes had defensives before. And if you use them correctly, you could help the healer a lot. And if you use your health stone correctly and your defenses correctly and your health pot, then you can be, I don't know, you can basically fix a healer's mistake for sure, right? Like if a healer did something wrong, you can health pot. If a healer did something wrong, you can try to cast some self heals or whatever, right? But that should be like an emergency thing that you can only do once or twice a fight and not permanently, right? Because it's true that before Dragonflight, you also had to press the defensive problem. It's not that you were like 100% reliant on a healer to keep you alive. You had tools to use yourself. You just didn't have as many tools as we have now. And back then it felt fine too, right? Before Dragonflight, it wasn't... We didn't feel like we were the squishiest people in the world that couldn't survive anything. Yeah, there's a difference between helping the healer and doing the healer's job. Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to make. Right now, there's some damage dealers who can stay alive for so long on like high incoming damage fights without needing a healer. Like sometimes you see like a boss fight that does a lot of incoming damage, and then the healer dies, and somehow the damage dealers can live forever. It's like, why? Like, that's not how it's supposed to work. Of course, Aug Evokers are a big problem as well. Maybe a strange thought, but could this change come because of something they have planned for later, like we get an official support role? No. Like a support role is just not gonna happen in the near future because they would... Like the biggest problem with a support role is we don't have supports. Like, that's the problem, right? And you could say, oh, well, they can just introduce supports. They can just add supports to the game. Yes, they can. But in like how, like when, you know? Where would these supports come from, right? It's not that Blizzard can just like release 5 support specs at the same time from nowhere. Because think about how many specs they added to the game in the past, like, X expansions. Now, to be fair, I think a big reason why we didn't get a lot of new specs and classes is mainly because we have so many classes. And the more specs we have in a game, the more complicated the game gets for everything, really. Like, just think about class sets, for example. Tier sets. The more specs we have in a game, the more tier sets they have to make. The more specs we have in a game, the more talents they have to fix. Right? So the more specs we have, the more work they have to do every time a new patch comes out, every time a new expansion comes out, right? So I think that's why they didn't release that many specs within a short period of time. But then at the same time, if you introduce a support role, which I think would work, technically speaking, but they can't just like do bam, there's 6 new support specs, you know, like where would they, like, they can't just like pull them out of their pockets, right? Another reason to delete dog, agreed. Ian already said they want to prune defenses in an interview. They just won't do it in the pre-patch/beta. But when did you say this? Because when I interviewed the devs, I asked them specifically about this, and they said they don't have anything planned. If they're planning on doing this, then when? Because, I mean, it would be great if they did, but clearly they're trying to nerf tanks before they nerf defensives of the damage dealers, which is the opposite approach of what they
There's a
should
lot
be
of
doing, right?
micro kiting that you can
what
do as
I
well,
think
where
they
you're
should
kind
be
of
doing.
keeping the pack in one general space, but minimizing the amount of autos that land on you, which is also something that is going to be valuable with this. I don't know very many tank players that enjoy that. I don't know very many people that pick up the old sword and shield with the intention of not getting hit and just kind of backpedaling away from stuff. I think that is a really fundamental misunderstanding of why tanking is fun, and I think it's going to lead to a tremendous reduction in the amount of people queuing as tank. And I think that's going to be bad for everybody because you need a tank to play the game. And
See, I'm not 100% sure that if that is true. Like, Dratnos says that okay, so, because I agree with Dratnos, I think the tanks that currently play tank, they like being super self-reliant. I think that is true. But think about it. The amount of tanks that we have right now, like, they're playing tank because they like the way tank plays right now. But we have an issue with the amount of tanks we have currently. Like, we don't have enough tanks, right? So the people that like to be self-reliant, there clearly aren't any more. Like, we already have filled up the number of people that want to be self-reliant tanks. Because they're currently play tanks, right? And I don't know if this is true or if this is gonna happen, but I'm saying there might be a possibility that there are tanks that would actually like to try tanking, but they feel like it's too much responsibility and you have to be too self-reliant to try it out. I'm not saying this is true, I'm saying this might be true. Because if you actually, like, if the healer can keep you alive more, if your self-survivability, or if your survivability as a tank is going to be coming more from a healer than before, then maybe if I'm a new tank and I want to try out tanking, maybe I'm going to be like, you know what? If I make a mistake, maybe the healer can keep me alive anyway. So, you know, maybe being a little bit more reliant on a healer is actually sometimes a good thing because you have slightly less responsibility on yourself when it comes to survivability, which might be a good thing for new tanks. Because one of the biggest reasons why people don't like starting to tank is because of the responsibility that tank has, which partially comes from your full self-reliance, right? So I'm not saying that this is gonna make a huge change and everyone's gonna be playing tank all of a sudden, but I do think shifting away the responsibilities of a tank a little bit and it not being so crazy might help the tank role a little. Possibly. Who knows?
and there are going to be a lot more groups without them. But let's continue. Tanks will take more damage overall, but shouldn't die significantly more often. To increase the overall damage tanks take and their reliance on healers, we're primarily increasing the percentage of damage they take after mitigation from steady damage sources like physical attacks. Note that we are increasing the danger of the stuff you can kite. So if you're listening carefully again, you are going to kite more often. Kiting is going to be, if you played Shadowlands Season 1, that's what they are designing towards here, which is, again, horrendous error. I could not overstate how bad that is. We're making fewer reductions to each class's defense against burst damage or other threats that are currently most likely to be lethal with them. Encounters will be tuned with this in mind, so the character of tank damage changes, but the lethality of it doesn't significantly increase. So
I also think that, okay, I obviously agree with Dratnos that if melee hits do more damage, then you're going to start kiting more. But I also think that if the healers can actually keep you alive through melee hits, then you're not going to kite. Right? Like, a tank is not going to kite if you don't have to. Like, if you can do damage, you will be doing damage, right? So if they're tuning it in a way that you can actually stay in and hit the mobs, you will be hitting the mobs. You're not gonna kite unless you would die. So I don't think that increasing the melee damage from mobs is by default gonna mean you will kite. Right? Because otherwise any amount of melee damage would cause you to kite. Because right now, why are tanks not kiting? Well, because they can survive the melee hits. So if they increase the melee hits and you can survive the melee hits, you will also not kite. Right?
Oh. Again, this part, if you actually read the patch notes that they're going to do, doesn't... It's one of those things where they've said it, but it's not a true statement. Haters would call it a lie. The nerfs to tank defensiveness and DRs and stuff will apply to the damage against burst damage as well. But I guess they could say it even without it being true. There's no fact check that goes on here, I guess, except for this video. Tank damage intake should be steady and not too fast. One of our goals for these changes is to smooth out the rates tanks take damage to reduce surprise spiky deaths. Healers should have time to respond to tank health, and tanks should have time to use self-heals, like Word of Glory or Celestial Brew. For some classes, we're increasing their passive defenses to compensate for defense or for decreases to more active or reactive defensive mechanics. Tank busters will still create challenging moments that reward tanks for planning and smart use of cooldowns. I think this is a good goal here. I think this is a good part of this.
Yeah, this is one of the good points, right? Like, obviously, tank damage being less spiky, I think most tanks would be happy about that. It's one thing I see a lot with a bad tank or a tank that is new, is they just get one shot, right? Like, that's like the one thing that happens a lot. And that is also super intimidating for new tanks. When you try tanking for the first time, you go into any content and things just one-shot you left and right? Like that is certainly cool that they reduced that, because yeah, any kind of one-shot damage as a tank feels very, yeah. Like, of course, tanks should be able to press their defenses correctly, or they should be pressing their defenses correctly, of course. And I still think there should be one-shotting mechanics. I don't think they should fully remove one-shot mechanics for tanks, because that is how the tank role works, and they have to play around tank busters and whatnot. But whenever you do a dungeon and an ability one-shots you that could have done any amount of damage, because the way you play World of Warcraft, right? Like, if you play a dungeon, you pull a boss, and you know this boss probably has some kind of tank mechanic that I have to deal with, right? Like, you're anticipating it. But the thing with trash in dungeons is that trash, some of them have tank mechanics that hit hard and some don't. And how are you able to know unless it's a pretty clear indicator that it's a tank mechanic, right? So if there's an ability that a trash mob has that one-shots a tank unless you use some big mitigation, a lot of people are going to die to it because they don't know that this is going to happen initially. And that's really frustrating, because knowing a dungeon perfectly is incredibly unlikely early on, right? So if you go in and this mob just one-shots you with an ability you didn't know it's going to kill you, or you didn't know it's going to do a lot of damage, that sucks. So any kind of reduction in one-shot mechanics from mobs that you cannot anticipate one-shot damage from, I think is a good change.
And yeah, I think this is probably the only part of this post that makes any sense. Tanks will have strong answers to threats or periods of danger, but less sustained self-healing. Tanks should have autonomy over their own survival and will still have cooldowns or emergency self-heals like Renewal or Impending Victory, but the healing of continuous effects like Elune's Favored or Indomitable are reduced, so tanks must have more of a partnership with healers to restore their missing health once it's lost. Again, this is sort of a understandable goal. I would say, here's the thing, is I already felt like this was the case on live or on beta. I was doing keys where it's like, okay, I'm never getting topped. Like, I'm relying on my healer, and I'm just trying to stay alive for long enough for my healer to get me. And that's like if, the start of an expansion is a natural time for things to feel like that, right? The start of the expansion is when you're at the weakest, and then you become more powerful over the course of an expansion. But I will say that it already felt like an especially weak start of expansion time, at least for the keys that I was doing, which is only like 10s, 12s, but 12s are pretty nasty on beta. Like, that's where the affix goes away and you get the extra scaling. And I was getting beat up, and oftentimes it was a case of like, I'm using Impending Victory.
Yeah, so I obviously don't have the same knowledge as Dretnos here when it comes to M+, like on beta. Like, it's not that I tanked any keys on beta, right? So if Dretnos is saying that tanks already were reliant more on healers than he thinks they were reliant in Dragonflight, then this change might, in fact, be a lot more weird than what I thought so initially. Because one thing that I personally think is a bit weird is when the tanks in general are like overdooming this. Because like what Blizzard is saying here is not that a tank is going to be completely like reliant on the healer at all times, right? That's not what they're saying. They're basically saying that the healer should be throwing some heals onto the tank once in a while, otherwise you will eventually go down. At least that's how I am reading this, right? I'm not saying this change is going to be good or bad. I wish it would have fixed the heal and the damage dealer defensives, but I do see tanks completely overreacting, thinking that they have to be spam healed by the healer. Not just tanks are saying this, but also healers. When they're not saying that at all, right? They're literally saying tank gameplay should not significantly change or require actions like kiting to survive. Healer gameplay should not be dominated by tank healing, right? Like they're literally, like their goal, if they achieve this goal or not is another question. But their goal is to have the healers heal the tank a little bit more. And their goal is to have the tank go down eventually if the healer does not heal them at all. Over a period of time, right? Is that bad? Like, is it that bad that a tank cannot survive by themselves for like minutes on end? Like, tanks are gonna say yes. But we've had M+ seasons in the past where healers had to heal tanks more than they have now, and it was fine. Like, I remember healing in Legion and in BFA, and I had to heal the tank back then. A little. Like, I wasn't there sitting spam healing the tank, but I had to throw hots at the tank, I had to keep stuff up on the tank to help the tank survive. Was the tank able to survive without me healing them for a while? Yeah. Did the tank die if I didn't heal a tank at all at some point? Yes, right? And back then, people didn't necessarily complain that much about that fact. So I do think that people should just have it play out first and give it a try to see what it feels like. Because, yeah, of course, it always sucks. If you're a tank and you're going to be less capable of surviving by yourself, like, it feels bad. Like, I get that. I 100% understand why it feels bad, but at the same time, maybe it's not going to be the end of the world if a healer has to throw some hots on you once in a while, right? As long as this healer doesn't have to sit there and spam heal the tank for them to survive. Like, if the healer only needs to have a beacon on you or to throw a life bloom and a rejuve on you, is it gonna be that bad? Yeah, I don't think so. Now, again, I'm not saying that they're going to be scaling it this way, but they're implying that they want to scale it that way from what the titles say here, right? Will they achieve this situation where a tank can still survive without a healer, just not for a long period of time? That's the problem, right? Like, it's hard to tell if Blizzard will be able to achieve whatever they're saying they want to achieve. If they do, then I think it's not going to be the end of the world. The problem is just they might not achieve it, right? Wait! We're talking about the router! Thank you so much, Anonymous! Oh my god, thank you so much! An anonymous gifter bought the mobile router for me. That is amazing! Thank you so much! Oh my god, now IRL streams are gonna be top-notch quality, guys. Thank you so much, whoever you are, Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous Gifter. I appreciate it so much. Nice. Okay, that is really cool. Nice. Now I don't have to hotspot with my second phone. That's cool. I had another solution where I would just use my phone with my SIM card and make a hotspot and then connect the other like hardware to the Wi-Fi of the hotspot that I created. But but the router is obviously much nicer because then I don't have to deal with all of that stuff. And with a router, I can also use an encoder separately, which means I don't need to use a mini PC, which means it's going to be a little bit easier to set up. So thank you so much, Anonymous. I appreciate it a lot. Also, I did want to give a quick shout out about the vacuum robot because an anonymous gifter gifted the vacuum robot to me that I had on my throne list, but the vacuum robot was not available anymore. So I have, like, the money for the robot is now on my throne account, and I will be using that money to buy another robot. I haven't bought one yet because I was looking into robots that have like a camera that you can use the feed off. Because I was thinking when I'm doing an IRL stream and my connection drops, that my OBS would switch to a different scene where you could maybe see the vacuum robot cleaning the office. I thought that'd be really cool if I could access the camera of a vacuum robot. So we could have, Kuro suggested that we have like a split screen where on one side you can see like a video of me from like an older stream, and then on the left side you can see the vacuum robot like cleaning the office, which I thought would be really cool. And I could like put Easter eggs in the office somewhere that maybe if you see the robot cleaning, you could see like something cool around the office, you know? So I was thinking that would be cool. So now I'm looking for a vacuum robot that has an accessible camera, or at least any possibility for me to use the camera for OBS. So I'm looking into that. And David said that maybe like Dream or Xiaomi has the possibility to do that. But I will look into that later today. So just quick update to Anonymous, whoever bought the robot. I will be buying it though. And thank you very much again for the router. Really appreciate that. I can't wait to test it out. All right, continuing with the tank talk.
Victory to survive an extra global in the hopes of then getting...
I know that you can't access the cameras. You can only access them through the app. But I was thinking if the app works on a PC, if I can somehow download the app on a desktop, then I would be able to use the feed. Because then I can just like window capture it or something. The problem is that a lot of these apps don't work on desktop. Yeah, I need an Android emulator or something. Yeah. But I'll see. Maybe I find a way.
Healed by my healer, right? And like...
Can't you just buy a 360 camera on AliExpress, stick it on the vacuum? You know what? That probably is a better idea. I think buying like a cheap camera somehow might be a better idea. The problem is, of course, like the battery life of the camera. Because the idea is that I'm doing a real life stream somewhere else. And if I drop connection, the vacuum turns on and films and broadcasts. But then the camera would have to be unplugged all of the time. And the battery, and it would have to be turned on all of the time. Unless I can somehow send a signal to this camera to turn on whenever I'm dropping connection, which is a bit complicated. So, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about this.
That is a fun way to tank. But them moving more in that direction when it already feels that way on beta means that instead, that's not going to be how we're going to play, and instead we're going to be kiting. Healer gameplay should not be dominated by tank.
Will today and tomorrow of TGP be super relevant, or does it come just down to Sunday because of eliminations? I think all days will be really relevant, for sure. Definitely. Because, like, let's say today starts, and then I don't know, Echo wipes an hour in a key while all the other teams manage to one-shot all of theirs. Or let's say a team manages to 3 chests a key twice and all the other teams only do 3 chests into 2 chests. Like, all of this matters for Sunday even. Like whatever happens today matters for Sunday. Yeah. A camera and a robot vacuum is not the best from privacy and security standpoint. Why, Uncle John? What do you mean from a privacy? You mean because I don't want the room to be filmed? Because I don't care about this room being filmed. It's my office. Oh, you mean from... You mean that the company would be using... I mean, I don't care about that. I would be live streaming it to lots of people. Oh, you're saying that the camera feed is not protected, it can easily be hackable. Yeah, but that's... Even that would... Like, what are people going to do with this camera feed? Like, I would understand the issue if I'm, like, at home. Like, if it's an apartment. But this is an office space. Like, I don't do anything weird here. I don't undress here. I don't, you know, like, I'm just here. And I have a camera on me right now, right? So it's not going to be anything crazy that would even happen. See naked in an office? Yeah, I'm not going to be naked in this office. So even if somebody would be hacking that feed or some company would be using, like, you will see my socks if that's... You literally changed clothes twice in the last month in your office. I put on clothes like over my clothes, if that's what I mean, and there's a bathroom. I change my clothes in the bathroom if I have to, where the robot wouldn't be. Anyway, moving on. Let me worry about that. Thank you, though.
Tank healing. So, okay, there's another paragraph here that's going to make sense.
Found.
Healers play a critical role. Keeping tanks alive is part of what they bring to the table. However, healers contribute to the group of success in many ways, especially in dungeons. They sustain, dispel, and respond to burst damage, all while doing mechanics. Tank healing should not demand so much that it interferes with their other roles. It may take some iteration to get the balance right on this, where healers feel essential to tank survival, but with their attention not overly demanded by it. Yeah, I mean, I think that if your healer is mostly doing tank healing, it's a huge failure for... that is going to nuke the enjoyment of both the healers and the tank players, and nuke the participation rates on both of those roles. So I guess maybe it's possible to simultaneously have healers feel essential to tank survival without their attention being overly demanded by it, and then it'll only nuke the tank's enjoyment and not the healer's enjoyment, which would be better than nuking both, but it still strikes me as... That strikes me as a level of balance that would be very, very, very hard to achieve. And in particular, with the way that Dragonflight worked out, it strikes me as the level of balance where it seems unlikely that there will be enough interest in doing the work to get that level of balance once we get to War Within Season 3 and 4, because...
I agree with him, but then, again, we've had this balance before, so I don't think... Like, I'm not sure why people think it's so unlikely that this can be achieved. Like, is it really that hard to make it work this way? Like, I understand that you don't have trust in Blizzard balancing, I get that. But we literally had this before. Like, this is not a completely new concept, right? If this was a completely new concept, then I would understand the insane, like, mistrust in being able to achieve whatever they're trying to achieve. But we literally had situations like this before, right? Like, or am I dreaming? Like in BFA, for example, tanks needed to be healed by the healers once in a while in dungeons, no? Like, I understand BFA is a while ago and Plus works differently now, like I get that, but I mean, we had, like, is it really that hard? I mean, maybe. Is it possible that Blizzard's gonna mess this up and it's gonna be not the way they want it to be? Probably, yeah. That is very likely. But can they theoretically achieve what they're trying to achieve? I mean, yeah. Right? Like, I don't see this as being this like impossible task. Maybe the mistrust mainly comes from... You know what? I think the mistrust maybe comes mainly from the end of Dragonflight being so completely ignored tuning-wise. Well, I don't want to say completely ignored, but almost, kind of. And I do think especially Season 4 in Dragonflight has been ignored tuning-wise because Blizzard just released all of these other things. Like, Blizzard has this new strategy, right? We didn't have this before. So Blizzard all of a sudden realized, whenever an expansion lasts for a long time, people lose interest no matter what we do. Like, even if Blizzard gives us a full-grown, like, fourth patch with a new raid, it's never going to be as successful as the first, like, 2 patches, right? So Blizzard was like, okay, well, fuck, what are we going to do? We put the same amount of resources into a first patch from a season compared to a 4th patch, but the people that play the 4th patch is like half compared to the first. So they decided, you know what, we're not going to do a proper 4th patch anymore. We're going to do like this fated thing. And we're just going to make the phase shorter and then release the expansion earlier. Because clearly people are going to play expansions and they don't play last season patches that much. Which kind of sucks because I personally like last season patches. I used to like them before we had Fated. But yeah, once they realized this kind of thing where, last patches are not as lucrative, we don't make as much money, they're like, let's do the Fated thing and then release the expansion earlier. And then Blizzard had this groundbreaking idea lately where they're like, you know what? Instead of trying to keep people in retail at the end of a season, at the end of a expansion, we are just gonna give them other things within World of Warcraft to do that requires a subscription, right? So now, instead of figuring out a 4th patch for retail, they give us this like, this like Band-Aid season with Fated to keep the people that really love retail in retail, to give them something to do. But they're not focusing on that season at all, right? They're not balancing much, they're not tuning much, they just throw that season in there and they just let the people play they want to play. And then they release all of this other content like MOP remakes, like Plunderstorm, like classic patches and all of that stuff. So the people that like World of Warcraft, but they are not happy with the last season, they will just shift to another part of the game, right? They will play remix, or they'll play Plunderstorm, or they play classic, or they play something else, right? They give them all of these other opportunities that they could play instead of retail, which they are testing now. I'm not sure if this is something they're going to be continuing in the future, if it worked out for them or not. I assume it worked out for them better than having a full-blown 4th patch. I don't know, though. Like, if I would have to take a wild guess, then I would say that this is probably going to be, that this is more lucrative for them to do it this way than to bring a full 4th patch with a raid and a season. If it's true or not, we'll see, right? But yeah, the thing that kind of resulted from releasing all of these other contents is that they put even less time into tuning and balancing retail. Because they don't care about it as much anymore, because they are not trying to keep you in retail necessarily. They're just trying to keep you in the World of Warcraft universe, which is all of these other modes as well. So if you don't like retail, well, just play one of the other games that we have available for you to play, right? But then, of course, people that do like retail, they are gonna lose some trust in Blizzard balancing and Blizzard caring about tuning and stuff, because recency bias, right? Where you're like, I remember Blizzard not tuning damage dealers in Season 4 at all. Or I remember Blizzard not caring that much about balance that season, right? So now you're thinking, they're not going to be putting a lot of balancing into Season 1 of War Within either. When in fact, it's probably not true, because they do care a lot about Season 1. The first seasons of the expansion are the ones that are played the most, no matter what. Like, no matter how good or bad a certain patch is, there will always be the most amount of people that play at the start of the expansion, right? Because people are hyped about the expansion. So usually that means that Blizzard also puts more time and effort into making sure the season is balanced and tuned. If you guys remember, the first season of Dragonflight was really well tuned. A lot of people just forgot about that. But season 1 of Dragonflight, in M+, was by far the best balanced season ever. There has never been any other M+ season that was as balanced as season 1 of Dragonflight, damage-wise. This is true, you can check the data everywhere. So if you're going off of that, you could argue, well, the war within season 1 is going to be balanced really well because Blizzard is actually going to care. If you're comparing it to season 1 of Dragonflight. If you compare season 1 of the war within with season 4 of Dragonflight, then you're going to be like, oh, they're not going to balance at all, right? But I think it makes more sense to compare it to season 1, right? Just because the time of the expansion that the patch released in is more relevant than how long ago it is. I think so, at least. Does that mean... Yeah, season 2 was the most broken ever, but just because of Augievoker. Because if you guys remember at the start of season 2, it was also really balanced, right? Augievoker did ruin all of the balancing, that is true. Yeah, that definitely happened. But before Augievoker, it was still fine. Dragonflight beta was way better tuned than current beta. I mean, I disagree. Dragonflight beta was not tuned at all. It was pretty bad. It was actually pretty bad. I do remember how broken Havoc Demon Hunter was. And they didn't even nerf it until the expansion had already released. Like, Havoc Demon Hunter was nerfed like 2 weeks after the expansion got released. And it was insane how broken it was. But also it doesn't matter. It actually just doesn't matter how balanced or not balanced Dragonflight beta was, because they balanced the season 1 during the season. Again, for Mythic Plus in particular, the classes don't have to be balanced at the start of the season. They just don't have to be. As long as it's not super like one-sided, right? Because at the start of Dragonflight season 1, the season wasn't that balanced. It really wasn't. But then they fixed some classes. Like, for example, Moonkin couldn't take Solar Beam because it was like a 5% damage loss or something. It was really bad. But then in January, they fixed it, and then Moonkin ended up being really good. Same with Shadow Priest. Shadow Priest was bad in Plus at the start of Dragonflight. It was really bad. And then Shadow Priest got their rework in January, and Shadow Priest was really good. And broken for the rest of the expansion, I guess. Yeah, there was a bunch of classes that were not doing so hot, and then they buffed them, and they were doing fine. And there were some classes that were a little bit overperforming, and then they nerfed them, like Havoc Demon Hunter, and it was fine. And this happened during the season. Because the way Mythic Plus works is that, of course, the way the rating system works is that the whole season matters, but the end of the season matters more than the start. Because at the start of the season, the rating is never going to be the highest you will be able to get, because there's a player power curve that you're not going to be reaching the maximum of in the first 3 weeks, right? You're not going to have best in slot gear in the first 3 weeks. So, and of course, also player experience and stuff like that matters a lot too when it comes to the highest keys you can possibly reach. So the first like 3-4 weeks of a season, you're not gonna be doing the highest possible keys for the whole season. Like, that's not a thing. Unless something is completely broken. Unless we have like an Augievoker release broken kind of character. So as long as there's some form of balance that doesn't have to be perfect by any means, but as long as it's not like completely out of the ordinary where one class is super broken, then the first 4 weeks is gonna be people figuring out the comp, people figuring out the routes, people farming gear, and so on. You're going to be able to do high keys, but you're not going to be able to do the highest keys of the season, right? So again, that's why for M+ in particular, balance and tuning does not matter as much at the start as it does later on, right? Because at the end of the season, you're gonna have the best gear, you're gonna have the best routes, the best meta comp, the best whatever, and that's when you're able to push the highest keys. So yeah, am I saying that they will be balancing everything perfectly at the start of the War Within? Obviously not. Like, is there a chance it's gonna be balanced? Yes. Should we completely like doom balancing because of season 4 of Dragonflight? Probably not, considering how little season 4 mattered to them, considering all of these other things that they released, right? Should it be this way is another question, right? Should Blizzard ignore season 4s and like later seasons like that and not tune them? No, like I wish Blizzard would always tune M+ properly and stuff properly, because then I would enjoy M+ a lot more and I would also play it more. So does it suck that Blizzard cares a lot more about the first few seasons? Yes, it does. But yeah, you should still consider that when you're thinking about balancing and stuff. Right?
Clearly, Dragonflight season 3 and 4 stopped getting anywhere close to the amount of effort that this sort of goal would require.
Damn.
Tank gameplay should not significantly change
I'm
or
yapping
require
so much
actions like
today.
kiting
Woo!
to survive. Okay, yeah, I mean, I agree that this is true.
So
we're
much
happy more
yapping is
players
being
are
done
enjoying
here.
playing tanks with their friends in pickup groups. There are a lot of demands on tanks, such as learning routes, leading groups, and knowing what trash abilities are particularly dangerous. The gameplay of standing toe-to-toe with groups of enemies
drink
and
more
tactics
coffee,
you
I can
learn
do
to
more
survive
yapping.
should continue to be effective. I mean, this is a good statement. All of this is saying that this is not going to be true, and all the patch notes are saying this is not going to be true. But I'm glad that Blizzard at least is saying that they don't. Blizzard is basically, they're just putting in like 40 changes that say it's time to kite, and then they've got a little line here that's like, you shouldn't have to kite. It's like, okay, well, I'm glad you think that, but I'm busy kiting. I can't talk right now. I can't come to the phone. If I walk near it, I'm getting autoed and I'm getting killed. So your feedback, please. We're excited for you to get a hold of these changes and share your feedback on playing with them. Yeah, I mean, I will of course play with these as well, and I've sounded very negative about these changes so far. I try not to do that too much before playing with things, but I can't help just an overwhelming feeling that this is moving in the exact wrong direction. But I will play with it and potentially make another video once I have about how this has affected my tanking thing. The thing is, I'm alright, like in raid tanking, it's probably going to be fine. It's just mostly key tanking, but at the end of the day, if key tanking really sucks, I just won't play key tanking and I'll just raid tank, and that's fine. There are seasons where I've already done that, so it's not the end of the world, I guess, but it's pretty bad. Keys are fun, and it's a shame that they're making them not fun. Okay, so class updates. In War Within, all character stamina has been increased by 60%. As part of an overall adjustment to the pace of healing gameplay. This increases the relative value of abilities that heal a percentage of characters' max HP. Many of these ability changes are to counteract that relative change. For instance, percent healing that Frenzied Regen restores has been reduced by about a third, but the amount of health it restores has remained the same. This is a good change. This is fine. This makes sense, right? Like, I think that giving the characters an extra part of stamina, right? Like, you kind of just increase the sponge, the size of the healing sponge, and then make percent healing becomes stronger as a result of doing that, and it makes sense to nerf it down to compensate. I think that this is entirely logical here. Blood Decay. Death Strike is a powerful ability that allows blood decays to mitigate a percentage of any form of damage taken in the last 5 seconds. In a way, it works like a retroactive shield block. Instead of reducing damage up front, it mitigates the damage you took.
Not tanking in the War Within if these changes go live. I agree, Hadir. I'm also not going to tank in the War Within if this goes live like this.
From a hit by healing you.
I fully support your
decision. If used in succession, Death
I
Strike
will
can
be
affect a
doing the
single
same
hit
thing.
multiple times, which would be comparable to blocking a hit, then going back in time and blocking it again. In some cases, restoring yourself to a higher health than where you started. In War Within, we're changing it to only heal the DK for a percentage of damage taken from a given damage event once to make it scale more like other tank mitigation mechanics. Now, I've been very negative so far in this video. This strikes me as a really smart change. I think that Blood Decay, so I love Blood Decay. Blood Decay is really fun. It's certainly true that when Blood Decay is broken, it's because you get to these spots where you're taking 100% of your health and damage every 3 seconds, but you're death striking every 1 second, and that death strike is looking back at 200.
Okay, you know what? The rest of this video is taking too long, and I don't know enough about the details of tanking to be able to fully care about a breakdown of the changes in particular. So I'm gonna play a dungeon instead. And then we can see the tank changes play out. I do like, I did read the Blood Decay changes though, about the Death Strike in particular. And I was also initially thinking that this seems like a very smart take, or a smart change. Because Blood Decay was the one thing that was the weirdest to think about when it came to these self-sustain nerfs, right? I said this before I read the changes. I was like, okay, nerfing the other tanks sustain and just, you know, making their other mitigation better makes sense. But for Blood Decay, they don't... Blood Decays are known to have less mitigation than other tanks, but they have more self-healing, right? So they take the damage and then heal it back up. While a lot of other tanks were reducing the incoming damage already, right? So I was really wondering, how are they going to change Blood Decay? Because all of the other tanks, I'm sure there's easy changes to make to achieve whatever they're trying to achieve. Blood Decay, on the other hand, not so much, right? So the Death Strike change is very interesting, and I'll see if it works out the way they wanted it to work. Yeah, that too. Throw flash 4 times in a row. Look at this. Throw flash. 2.37 million, 327k overkill. Number 2, throw flash. 2.78 million, 2.36 million, 426k overkill. Throw flash. One. In case you don't know what throw flash is, it's in Necrotic Wake. The mobs at the very start, they cast Drain Fluid and they cast Throw Flash. It's a not interruptible cast. You can disrupt it, just not interrupt it. And they just kept throwing it at me. No. Just go dog form and catch it. Good point. Every second. I said I did. Broken bone. I still haven't fixed my gear, actually. Man, I really need to fix my embellishments mainly, I guess. Might as well just try and craft. So what are people playing? What embellishments? Do we still have Silicon Lining and stuff, or...? Can you buy embellishments, or do you have to craft it? There's a lot of bad healers. I know, like, I've heard this take before, like, someone else in chat was saying how bad healers are, but... Like, on high keys? I don't know. I think damage dealers are generally a lot worse than healers, no? Like, just by... Like, depending on what damage dealer you play, you can literally be half FK in a dungeon. Like, let's be honest here, yeah? Healer, on the other hand, has to do a thing or two. A healer has to pay a little bit more attention than a damage dealer, that's for sure. In M+, that is. So I'm not sure if it's actually true that healers are, like, the worst players by any means. There's approximately 3 times as many bad DPS as bad healers. Yeah, I think so too. Like, I think in general there's more bad damage dealers, or relatively speaking, there's more bad damage dealers than bad healers. The thing though is that, of course, a bad damage dealer is not going to hold you back as much as a bad healer does. In general. Well, it depends actually. Wait, I want to take this back. This is actually not true. The way defenses are tuned right now in Dragonflight, I think a bad healer is not going to hold you back that much either. Just because, like, if you have 3 good damage dealers and a good tank, the healer is not gonna be, like, it's not gonna hold you back as much. Just because you don't need them half the time. Because tank damage dealers are so tanky and have so many abilities to survive, and tanks are so tanky that you just don't require the healer to press their buttons that well. In some situations. Of course, if you do the highest keys possible, then you need your healer to be good, right? I mean... But you can compensate a bad healer by just having good damage dealers, I think, for sure. But you can also compensate a bad damage dealer, too. So... That's Whelpin.
Yeah, what do you want?
Okay, what's this? I forgot. Better not be Toldagor. You also have to fix the DPS mistakes of taking avoidable damage. No. They don't. Just let them die. Also, let's be honest here. Most of the time, avoidable damage just kills you on high keys. Where are we going? Oh, Stonewall. I'm always talking about high keys here, not about random plus 10 keys or plus 5 keys or whatever. Right? Because in lower keys, it's gonna be a bit different. In a lower key, you can carry a bad damage dealer a lot more than in a higher key because the damage is not gonna be as relevant. Because the timer is gonna be a lot more lenient. Same goes with healing though. Healing in lower keys is gonna be a lot. Well, it's a lot easier when it comes to the incoming damage. It is also true that in lower keys, people tend to be worse at the game, which means that they're gonna be taking more damage than what they should. In addition of also not pressing their defenses properly. So healing in low keys is harder than in high keys in comparison to damage dealing. Like if you compare a healer in a +5 versus a healer in a +20, and a damage dealer in a +5 versus a damage dealer in a +20, then the healer is gonna have a harder time in the 5 versus damage dealer in the 5, and in a 20, it might be equal or maybe a little bit in favor of the damage dealer even. So it depends on the key level for sure. And I'm talking about current tuning. I'm talking about the way defensives and incoming damage is tuned right now, not like in general. Because obviously, depending on the tuning and seasons, it changes. Sometimes healing is a bit harder, or sometimes the timer is a bit harder.
High Speaker Eirik. Or is it just Eirik now? He's fled from the Hall of Awakening into the Stone Vault. He's probably running like a frightened mouse. Wee sleeked, cowardly, timorous beastie.
Nice. Oh wow, the tank didn't have to kite, guys. Good sign, good sign. Wait, so these changes are live, right? Just to make sure. Like these tank changes, they're live right now? Oh, oh my god. I don't have curse spell. They are live, okay. Hey, no Snikta, thank you so much for Prime. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Welcome, welcome.
Open your mind to the whispers.
Oh, we have to focus this guy, right? What does this give again? Haste? Oh, crit chance. Oh, these are the ones that do AoE damage, right? And you can line of sight it. It's ground pound, I think, yeah. Wait, I think you can also outrange it, actually. Yeah, see? I think it's like 40 yards or 35? Yeah. Another outrangeable AoE spell. Love to see that as a range player.
What's this? Is that golem fused with something else?
Melee shield.
Titanic Earth and
What do you mean melee? You
technology
should just
enhances
walk
the magical
out.
weapons.
Duh.
Brilliant.
Stop complaining and just walk 40 yards away, okay? Can't believe melee are always complaining. Just fucking outrange it, yeah? What's your problem? Oh, our tank died. Oh no, guys. Guys, our tank is deceased. Well, I guess we can flame the healer now if the tank dies. I don't know how this boss works now. Like, they changed this boss so many times. Oh, so it still works like that with the shatter. So you still have to not clear all pillars at once, I guess? Wait, the boss is standing a bit weird. I think we're gonna have to clear a lot of them now. Oh, we did clear. Oh, okay. Oh, it's only 3 spikes that spawn now. Yeah, true. Should our tank that again? Oh no! Ah, it's okay, our DK is tanking, don't worry about it. Why have a tank when you Frost DK can tank? Oh, he did so well. Okay, so once he died to the smash, I think that's just a tank mechanic, right? 7 million, 321k overkill. And once he died to seismic smash as well. Plus beam. %90 HP gone with shield, wall, and roof. Okay, so they clearly did not nerf one-shot damage. on this boss like they wanted to, because this guy still seems to be one-shotting tanks.
Activate defense protocols. Seismic protocol activated.
One thing to note though is that
Offensive measures engaged.
like the change that they need more healing did not have anything to do with this death, right? Because the tank didn't slowly die to incoming damage, the tank died to one-shot damage, in a sense. Which the healer can't really help anyway with, right? We don't have a rest here.
Measures engaged. Dominant intruder identity terminated.
Okay, let's go again.
Offensive protocols. Intruder terminated. All intruders terminated.
Also, I think Proud Warrior is a little bit of a bad tank to be judging this change by, because Proud Warrior was always a tank that actually was the least self-sustained tank, right? Proud Warrior always needed a little bit of help. They had very little self-healing in comparison to other tanks, or like self-sustain.
Activating defense protocol.
Even before this like change.
Seismic protocol activated. Offensive measures engaged. Dominant intruder identified.
Open your mind.
Alright, let's see if we can
Seismic
have the tank survive. So the tank needs to be full health and have... Well, he said though, the tank said 90% HP with shield wall and reflect. Apparently the tank died through shield wall and reflect at 90% HP, yeah? Like if that is the case, then that's a bit crazy, yeah? Like that doesn't seem survivable then.
activated. Offensive measures engaged. Dominant
I'm not gonna get rid of this pillar. We can just get that one on the next explosion, maybe?
seismic protocol activated.
Just don't get 4 now.
Offensive measures engaged.
Maybe we shouldn't get 4. Wait, oh, I'll get this one then. I tank that? Oh no, rest.
Engaging offensive
Fuck!
protocols. Intruder terminated.
Hey, just seismic smash! 93% in health. Oh, he's not dispelling the tank. Ah, that's the issue. Okay, he's just not dispelling. Okay, now we understand. Now we learned that we have to dispel a tank. Yeah. Oh yeah, we uploaded the video where I'm talking about the tank changes. I mean, I talked about the tank changes a little bit earlier as well, but I had another talk where I read through the changes myself and I made the discussion. So if you guys want to check it out, I'm sure people will not be angry in the comments. Oh, people will be so mad in the comments on this video. Oh no, I don't want to read that. I'm gonna avoid YouTube comments for the next 2 weeks.
Offensive measures engaged. Dominant intruder identified.
There we go. Okay, we got the dispel. Oh no, wait, we have to dispel before the AoE comes in though, right? So before the seismic, whatever it's called.
Offensive
We have 3 beams, keep that in mind. I mean 4 beams.
dominant intruder identified.
Oh, we have 4 debuffs?
Engaging offensive protocol.
This is dispel, 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 dispel. Okay. Okay, we got the rest. Our tank survived even without the dispel, we've run.
Seismic protocol
Yeah, this is hard for the healer because before the AoE you have to top the group and you have to dispel a tank, right? Like you have to do two things here. And maybe you don't have the global for a dispel when you have to heal a group so much.
Seismic protocol activated. Offensive measures engaged. Dominant intruder identified. Engaging offensive protocols.
Oh, shit. Yeah, this boss just does a lot of damage. Okay, trust, we got it now. Nah, I think the damage on this boss is very healable. Our healer just didn't know how the boss worked, yeah. Also, we're doing a 10, or it's like we're doing a 10 where the healer doesn't know how the dungeon works. Let's not jump to conclusions here. First, the healer didn't know he has to dispel the tank. Wait. Now we're gonna get some big debuffs. Okay, actually not that big. Okay, so now we have to dispel the tank. We didn't dispel the tank. Yeah.
Seismic protocol activated.
Both an explosion, that's just a spawn, right? What?
Intruder terminate.
Okay, yeah.
Measures engaged.
Hey Joshy, what's up? Remember when this used to be 5 feelers? I remember. Timer doesn't show deaths? Oh yeah, it doesn't. Oh, because that's how it is on 10, right? The deaths don't count. Wait, what? No. Wait, deaths still count. It's still a time penalty, right? Below 12 still.
3, 2,
Hey, Simply Tito, good
1.
morning, what's up?
Intruder terminated.
They just count more on a 10, yeah, good point.
Seismic protocol activated. Offensive measures engaged. Dominant intruder identified. Seismic protocol activated. Offensive measures engaged. Dominant intruder terminated.
Shit.
Engaging offensive.
I tanked that before the smash though, right? Or when does the smash happen? Oh no, it didn't get seismic smash. When does seismic smash happen? I thought it's at the AoE. So when is this seismic smash? Do you just have to pay attention to the cast? Is it even a cast at all? TGP starts at 7. Yeah, no, it's a tank buster. I'm asking when it is, when it happens. And we're scaled to at the moment 580.
Activating defense protocols. Seismic protocol activated.
Okay, I'm gonna pay attention to the seismic smash now. If I see it.
Offensive measures engaged. Dominant intruder identified. Seismic protocol activated. Offensive measures engaged. Dominant intruder.
Seismic smash. Oh, there it is.
Engaging offensive.
So it's after the second pillar spawn.
Intruder terminated. Seismic protocol activated.
And this time we did have a dispel, but the tank was on 40% HP. Yeah. Yeah, the item was a bit low for the level, I guess. Oh, we're gonna get... Oh, never mind. Kind of really need to pee. I drank too much coffee.
Activating defense protocols. Seismic protocol activated.
And I'm so excited for TGP, guys. I don't know what happens today. Do you really think that one team is gonna like save up a dungeon completely and not play it? I don't think so, but it could be. Like, especially if we have a dungeon that we haven't seen before. Like, imagine we get something like Alderman today that wasn't part of the group stage at all. Okay, guys, I think this is I'll go next. Thanks for 200 bits. I hang on, man. What's up? I guess Warfare is a good expansion to start tanking. If I fail, I can say Blister. Just hates tanks now. Okay, I'm gonna leave because, I mean, if we kill this boss now, technically I still have 13 minutes until the timer of the dungeon finishes, but we're not gonna do the dungeon in 13 minutes, so if we kill a boss now and then have to leave later, it just sucks, so. Yeah, guys, I uploaded a video about my thoughts on the tank changes. So, tank tuning in the war within. With the introductions of the Dragonfly talent system. Because clearly I'm a very experienced tank, so you should care about my opinion. So go ahead and check it out if you want. You do spend a lot of time in Bearford. That's actually a good point. Very good point. Guys, so what do you want before I leave? If I do an IRL stream next week, do you want me to go hiking somewhere? How does that sound? I could go cycling as well. If I go cycling, I could technically just like cycle down the valley. I could go to Bruneck and eat an ice cream and then cycle back. Or we could hike up a mountain somewhere and hope that we have signal. I think for cycling, the signal is probably more reliable. I think. I'm just not sure how good the quality of the microphone will be and stuff when I'm cycling, because it's going to be windy and whatnot. So the problem with cycling is the wind possibly, and the camera placement. Because I do have a GoPro that I can attach to like things, like a chest strap or like something like that. But then I won't be able to like hold it out that much and like do some sort of like camera where you can see me. If I go hiking, I'm gonna have a selfie stick, and then I'll hold it out like this and you can see me and the background. If I go cycling, you can probably just see what I'm seeing. Yeah, because it's gonna be kind of hard for me to hold out the camera properly without it being wireless. It's gonna be attached to wires, and then I could take it off from the chest strap and then hold it out or something, but I mean, it's probably doable as well for a little bit. You know what? I could cycle somewhere to hike up somewhere. Oh, I could do both. I could do a cycling and hiking test at the same time. I could cycle to some place, leave my bike there, and then walk up a mountain, and then we'll see what works better. That's a good point. Maybe I do that. A canoe. I could do some canoeing, yeah. Hike up a mountain and come down by bike. You want me to carry the bike up? Man, only crazy people do that. Like David. These people that carry bikes up mountains just to cycle down. Unbelievable. Hey, Canex, what's up? Hey, streamer, I'm doing a survey of Druid players with the War Within coming soon. What spec are you re-rolling to? You mean what class, right? Yeah, I'm thinking of Warlock, possibly Evoker. Leaning towards Warlock, though. Or I learned how to play Mage. Return of Nagany? Yeah. Druids are down bad, guys. Oof. It's a struggle. Not the Elemental Shaman? No. Why would I go from Moonkin to Elemental Shaman? What the fuck? That seems like a very bad idea.
I need a target.
Probably Sebla. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna be leaving you for today. So next week the RL stream is probably gonna be okay. Let me think. I think I probably need some days to set it up. Wait. Let's see if I have some plans. It depends on the weather as well, obviously. So I can't do it on Friday. Because I have something else to do then. I could do an IRL stream on Wednesday or Thursday. Probably more likely Thursday. From like a time perspective. For me to figure things out beforehand. And receive all the things that I've ordered. If the weather is well. If the weather sucks on Thursday and it's really good on Wednesday, maybe I try Wednesday already. But yeah. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. I won't be streaming until Monday, because, of course, I don't... Actually, no, that's a lie. I stream on Sunday. That is a complete lie. I will be streaming on Sunday. Because on Sunday, I'm doing a Hearthstone stream with Fenno, where he's going to teach me how to play Hearthstone. I mean, we already streamed twice, but it's going to be the third stream of where he teaches me, or tries to teach me how to play Hearthstone. And we're going to try the new card style with the new expansion. I'm going to try to practice between TGP games today. So yeah, I'll see you guys on Sunday. I will probably start streaming at around... maybe around noon. Noon to 1 p.m. Depends on if I want to do something in the morning or not. Maybe if I want to go on a quick, I don't know, hike or something, then it will be a bit later. Otherwise, I can probably stream earlier. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Sunday. And of course, I also see you later today for TGP and tomorrow for TGP. Remember, it starts at 7 p.m. CEST, which is in 2.5 hours. Probably starts a bit earlier than that. So don't make sure you don't miss the TGP. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be Global Finals that start today. So definitely check it out. And I'm going to go ahead and host somebody real quick. Remember to follow my stream if you haven't yet. That will be very much appreciated. Check out my new YouTube video where I'm talking about the tank changes. Thank you so much again, Anonymous, for buying the mobile router for me. That is really, really cool. I will for sure test it out as soon as I get it. Thank you very much. Oh, Dorky's stream already. I'm going to go ahead and host Dorky. Dorky's, of course, going to be watch partying the TGP Global Finals. So you guys can check out Dorky's stream. Or, of course, you check out the main broadcast where I'm casting. Whatever you want to do. Yeah, check out my Instagram as well. I post stuff there whenever I'm not streaming, whenever I go do any kind of IRL things. I post stories there mainly. On my feed, I only really post reels, but yeah. Yeah, check out Dorky. And I see you later today. Enjoy your weekend. Have a good one. Thank you very much for hanging out. And say hi to Dorky.